Okay, and we are live from remote locations from the corners of South County. Myself, Andrew Pizzelli, and Christian Lauber on the other end are bringing you the 360 Sports Show live, and I guess you can say in color. There's some color. We're on a screen. You're not going to see our faces because we are in two remote locations. I guess let's check in. Christian, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Aha! I can hear you. We have successfully completed a Verizon ad. So, there is so much to get to today with this. The reason we are doing the show like this, instead of just pushing out a podcast to you guys later on today like we normally do, we thought we'd do the show live because me and Christian both have to be in separate places right now. We're isolated. We are just hanging out. We're practicing our social distancing, Christian, amid the coronavirus outbreak. And we have a whole bunch to get to, factually from the news. And we're going to go down the timeline of events and everything leading up to today and how it relates to sports, but also, we can't help but discuss how this is affecting the real world and everything. I would say to start, and also, if you want to email the show, it's right up there on the screen, the 360sportshow@gmail.com. Send us something during the show. We'll get to it. Or hit us up through Instagram or Twitter. They're right there. The hashtag, the handle's right there on the screen. So go ahead and interact or comment on the stream. We're looking at that right now. But before we get into all the news stuff, Christian, I guess maybe for each of us, give our own, say, takes of what the past couple days have been like for each of us, because everybody has a different story, everybody has a different kind of perspective. And so I'll start with you. You're in the middle of moving home. Aren't you glad you got into your new house? So I guess take me through kind of the last since Wednesday, when this whole thing really has taken off, exploded, changed the world, whatever words you want to use.
Yeah, all of the above, probably. Well, it's been a weird week. From everyone thinking, this is just the flu, it's no big deal, to Rudy Gobert effing around, and he got first sports player to get, I believe anyway, first NBA player to get coronavirus confirmed, and from there everything spiraled after that. The NBA for me was really, just my connection to sports. The NBA for me really was the first place that I was like, oh, here we go. And that kind of started it all. It was kind of just a downward spiral after that. He got the ball rolling. And then, with all these guys, these teams playing each other so often and every other day, and you got to worry about other NBA teams. So they shut it down pretty quick. Really, it was that delay in that game that started it for me. Just catching it on the TV. And once that started, this doctor comes running. I believe it was a team doctor came running out onto the court. And then they shut everything down that day between the Jazz and the Thunder. And that was kind of really, not only for sports, but I feel like the country after that. The NBA kind of started the whole thing. We're going to cancel this. And then from there, it was the NHL, the NCAA tournaments, except for the Big East, I believe.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
But that for me is kind of what started it. That whole, it's a normal day kind of. We know this thing is going on. But once that game got canceled and the NBA came out and Adam Silver, rightfully so, suspending the season, is the right word, I guess, because cancellation, to me means done, which as of right now they're not. But I would say that's kind of where I was. I saw that whole thing play out, and from there, everything kind of just went downhill.
Yeah. So from my perspective, I work at Salve Regina University in Newport, and all week, our teams were supposed to be flying down Thursday to Florida, our baseball and softball teams, to go go on spring break and, play teams down in Florida. And, there had been already a couple of teams pulling out, canceling their trips, not canceling their seasons yet, but just, canceling their West Coast trips or their trips to Florida. Any time they were going to have to get in an airport or on an airplane, they were pulling out. And so there was already momentum for me, I felt, building throughout the week, where I was seeing different teams pulling out of travel, which I thought, okay, I understand that if you want to be cautious. And then Wednesday morning, we get word that MIT has straight up just canceled their entire spring season. Anything they're in, everything just done, canceled. And I got the feeling that if more teams start doing that, you kind of create this snowball effect where, same with us, like with our teams going down to Florida, if more and more teams keep pulling out, who are we even going to play down there? So then why is it worth it for us to go? What if you fly down and somebody gets just a regular cold and you're coming back on a plane and they flag him for a temperature, and now it's like, hey, we don't know what he has. He could just have the cold, but we're going to be cautious, and now everybody's quarantined, and that's a whole fiasco. So I felt like there's momentum building towards us not going on our spring break trip. And so Wednesday we had a couple of home games. We had baseball and softball both at home, and I was over at men's lacrosse, and there was this feeling that started to build that, this could be it for the season. It sounds weird, but we had games coming up on Saturday, but we weren't sure, if those were still going to happen, because maybe we go on take a 2-week break, kind of see the landscape. And we played those games, and coaches kind of talked to players like, hey, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's happening yet. We'll see. Get back to campus and get the news that our spring break trips have been canceled. Could have seen that coming. So I'm in the office. I'm wrapping up lacrosse, and I said, time to go home. And I said, you know what? I already want to work from home Thursday and Friday before covering lacrosse on Saturday. I'm going to take my broadcast. I'm going to take everything that I could possibly need. And in the back of my mind, I thought, what if I don't come back into this office anytime soon? So I just grabbed a couple of other things. And Thursday, I'm out shopping, and I get the news, and obviously that night, we see, as you said, Christian, everything unfold live. It was something you couldn't take your eyes off of. I hear about the game in delay, and I get home, and I'm like, let me put this on. What is going on? As the afternoon and the day went on, I kept getting this feeling like something, we're building towards something. And as soon as you saw that game was postponed, and hey, Rudy Gobert has been pop positive, you just knew that things were going to go down very quickly. And within 24 hours, you had the NBA shut down, and you had all the other major sports leagues basically quickly go into suspension or shutting down. And the NCAA was kind of one of the last people to get on board, and we'll talk more about what went down in Brooklyn and New York, where we were supposed to be, made the call not to go, rightfully so. But they shut down their championships, and then once that happened, even places like Salve, who we had said, all right, you know what, we're going to go remote, we're going to go have school, remotely until April 13th. Maybe we come back and still play games, but then, once more and more teams cancel their seasons and just call it quits, you can't really, the rest that are left can't really soldier on. And the conferences, I think the pressure came from the top on down to everybody just to completely call it quits. And we'll talk about the ripple effects from that regarding, say, senior athletes in high school and in college, who you both feel for. But yeah, the sports world has completely shut down, and it's one of those things where 5 days ago, it was something that felt away. It was something far away. It wasn't affecting us. And the people you talked to said, "Nah, we haven't even really talked about, are we going to shut down or anything?" And then within 2 days, boom, shut down. Everything's canceled, and basically, everybody's kind of just hanging out at home now for the most part. And that's a whole nother section of the show we can get into, is the outside of sports stuff with this. But I guess that kind of covers that broad timeline of events. I just couldn't believe I saw that day Rudy Gobert is going to miss the game probably because he's sick. And I was like, what an idiot. See, he was joking around, touching everything, touching everybody's objects, touching public places, touching himself. And this is what he gets. He's got a cold. No surprise. And then as soon as that tweet came across, and it said he was positive for coronavirus, you just knew this whole thing was going to spread like wildfire.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of made up for it. Like, he's done some good things after the fact, and he apologized and everything, which is good. But God, what a moron to even like. That's kind of the whole thing, though. It's this is not a politics show, so we're not going to get into too much of that. But it's one of those things that everybody thinks is a meme and a joke, and like, you see the numbers on the flu, and sure, the flu is not great either, but there's a reason countries are on lockdown. You look at a place like Italy, right? It's not a big joke just to get everybody up in arms, right? So you got to take it more serious, and I think Gobert now probably has realized that. And man, if I was Donovan Mitchell, I'd be pissed, but there's not much he can do about it. But, he's kind of redeemed himself in some aspects. He's going to give $500K to, the workers of the arena and everything like that. So that's good. And a lot of teams and players are doing stuff like that, which is nice for the hourly employees, which I think is a good thing. And those are the people that really should be doing that and have the ability to do that more so than someone like, me or you, the bystander, the, regular human that's, going to work every day. These guys are in a position where they can kind of do that. Now, some teams have not, like the Winnipeg Jets, but it has spiraled in an insane way to the point where now it's just, everything's on lockdown. Try to take it serious. Try to stay home if you can. Avoid the large groups. Now, I still see a bunch of things coming out, but about people going out, and still not a big deal, I guess. But the thing that people don't realize is it's not really about you. It's about, say, your parents, your grandparents, things like that. It's not, if you're in our age group, in that middle-aged, age group, it's not really so much about you as it is the other people around you. So you don't want to get it going. And the only way to get this thing under control is to avoid, the reason we're not doing the show together is because that's what you need to do right now. Yeah. You suck it up for 2 weeks or whatever it is, and the thing's done, and we can get through it.
Yeah. Because, from basically everything we've seen, like you said, people comparing it to the flu, and yes, the flu is just as the flu is a deadly thing. It's deadly for those people who are susceptible, people, the young, the old, people with compromised immune systems or other underlying health problems. So what's crazy is all the people who are, because of this are starting to practice, washing their hands every day. Like, you weren't washing your hands already? Like,
I know.
I think that could be a silver lining, I guess, if that's the right even words to use out of this, is that probably in the aftermath we'll have more people just generally practicing better hygiene, which will be good. But we don't know enough about the spread of this thing. How long, are you asymptomatic and contagious? How long are you contagious for? How long could you have it and not know it? And that's how it's spreading faster than the flu does, is because you have people who feel totally fine, don't know anything. Maybe they even just get a very mild illness. They think they're fine, and now they've just spread it to 100 people, or say they only spread it to 10. Well, those 10 then spread it to another 10, to another 10. And it takes 10 days maybe before anybody even develops symptoms, and before anybody even knows. Then that once that first guy is, oh, hey, Rudy Gobert's positive. Now you have to work backwards, which is what they had to do. They had to work backwards. Okay, who has he been in contact with? All right, the whole team quarantined. And that's not just players. That's coaches, that's support staff, that's broadcasters. You know, the Celtics had played the Jazz earlier in the week, so they were quarantined, and are now being kept in, and you know, everybody has to self-isolate. And it wasn't just the players, it's the broadcasters. You know, Cedric Maxwell called in to NBC Sports Boston from his hotel. You know, he's like, hey, you know, we're just hanging out here. You know, we can't leave. They were eventually allowed to fly back to Boston, but as soon as they got into Boston, brought to a specific hotel, everybody isolated in their own rooms, and you can't have contact with each other. And then you have to try and work back, okay, who did Gobert have contact with? Can you figure out who he got it from? And what happens is the more and more cases you have, the harder and harder it is to trace, and you just have to start saying, we don't know how he got it. You know, and Gobert already gave it to a kid. A kid in Westerly, Rhode Island has this because he got an autograph from Gobert. Something that, as of even, like, I think before any of this happened, they were telling players, hey, fist bumps, elbow bumps, no handshakes, don't do autographs with fans, no media engagement, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. So it becomes really hard to track back, and that's why it's important right now. You know, do I feel fine? Yeah. You know, I feel 100%. Knock on wood. You know, I believe that I'm fine. You know, I'm sure you believe you're fine. And are we at risk? You know, the most risk? No. But I sure as hell don't want to give something to my parents or, you know, any relatives. I have a whole bunch of younger cousins who I wouldn't want to ever get sick. And I have friends who have grandparents, great-grandparents. So, you know, I have friends asking me, hey, let's hang out, let's do this. And I'm like, you know, sure, we could act like life's just going to go on as normal. But I feel like right now, as you said, Christian, is the time to just suck it up. We have the internet. We can all talk to each other. We can all FaceTime each other. And just kind of practice the simple, you know, let's just all become introverted for a little while. And we can all
the way I like it.
We can all just sit home. I am currently working my way through all 456 episodes of Law and Order. So there are things to do. Read a book, learn a language. It's a gorgeous day today. After this, I'm going to have lunch, and I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go for a nice long walk. I'm going to try and stay away from as many people as I can. I'm not going to go play hoops. I'm not going to go to a bar. The people, two images yesterday that stuck with me. One was the people out at bars and restaurants in totally jam-packed areas, which is just totally, it just flies in the face of everything that anybody who's a health professional right now is trying to do to limit the spread of this thing, because you don't want that spike where, like you said, people were asymptomatic and they spread it to 10 people and 10 to 10 to 10 to 10. And hey, guess what? Today we have, you know, 8,000 new cases in a couple of days when all these people who went out and mingled get sick. You know, and that's when the health system is overloaded and, you know, there's just not enough care for people. And the other image was the people in airports, you know, totally jammed up. And I'm just like, this is just so bad. You're just creating a petri dish for people right now. So if you can,
travelers coming back into the United States.
Yeah, and if you can, as best you can. Luckily, I had the ability to go shopping Thursday and just said, you know what, I'm going to prepare like we're going to stay home for 2 weeks, and don't go crazy. Nobody needs to go and buy 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer like that numbskull down in Tennessee who bought out basically the whole state and went to Kentucky with a U-Haul and bought hand sanitizer a couple of weeks ago, and now is trying to sell it for $100 a little bottle. That sort of behavior is just ridiculous and should be condemned. Be smart. Just get what you need for yourself. You know, we're all just going to have to get cozy and hang out for a little while in our little separate silos. So go, if you have to go to the market, go out. Just just be smart. I think that's like with most things. If you're just smart, this won't be that big a deal. And we can look back and say it wasn't a big deal, but it wasn't a big deal because we acted appropriately. I think you have to be aggressive in your actions here instead of reactive. And
you know what I don't get though? Like, how much toilet paper does one person need? Like, if you're gonna do that, like I've been saying this for a few days now, go buy a bidet.
Oh yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop taking all the toilet paper off the shelf. I don't get it. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of similar, like the bar scenes and everything like that. You're shoulder to shoulder. People are coughing. You're getting drinks. You're buying other people drinks. Like that is a surefire way to get everybody in there. One person in there, that's a chain reaction, and then those people go out. And that's how it happens.
And during normal, just normally with flu season, it's bad enough. When you have like a contagion that we don't even fully know about yet, like where, I mean, I guess in a way it's Darwinism, right? Like, it'll take care of itself here, folks. But I guess you just got to be. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I wouldn't do it, And
I mean, people aren't worried. That's the thing, You're not worried because it's not about. But they don't realize it's not about you. Like for me, I won't get into it too much, but I have an autoimmune thing, so I don't know how I'll react to it. So number one, I don't want to get it myself, and I don't want to give it to people like my parents, family, friends. Like, you just got to realize that it's not necessarily just about yourself, but at the same time, why would you want to get sick anyway? Like, I don't care. It's not going to affect me that much. But the next person next to you, it might. So it's just one of those things that you got to get under control. But it's got to be everybody, kind of like a cohesive unit, so to speak, working together to get it under control. And until that happens, we'll see. I guess I don't know. It just keeps. There's been no decrease. It's been only increase. So
yeah, we're following the track of Italy right now. That's kind of where, and we saw, most European countries now are going on lockdown. So me and you are already ahead of the curve. Christian, we've already locked ourselves down, so we're ready. If you guys are watching right now, you can see on the screen we've got the email for the show and the handle for our Twitter and Instagram pages. If you want to join in and send us your thoughts. Tell us what you're doing right now. If you want to give us your thoughts on how this is affecting sports, any questions, if you want to just give us stories, anything you want to contribute to this discussion, hit us up through the email, the Gmail right there, the360sportshow@gmail.com, and on Instagram and Twitter @360sportshow. I guess we'll get back into later in the show, how would you handle a lockdown? What are we going to do? Like I said, I'm going to watch a whole bunch of TV shows, reading books, that sort of stuff. We can get into maybe, if you guys have any, what are you doing right now, I guess, out there, the listeners? What are you guys doing to prepare? What are you guys doing to hang out? Send us those, send those to us. I can't, there's a word in there I'm trying to get to. I stumble. Christian, this is just a running theme in the show. There's always one thing each week where my brain, send those our way. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, but that doesn't sound like what I'm trying to say in my brain. Anyways, let's move along and just kind of maybe dive back into the sports angle of this.
Yeah, what do you think? Let's talk some sports today, huh?
Yeah, let's talk about how the NFL just agreed on a new CBA with the players.
Shocker.
I'm going to give that 5 minutes. 5 minutes on the new CBA. We've talked before about how it's a terrible, terrible, terrible deal for the players. Or any veteran player or star player, it's a horrible deal for. If you're a young player or a new player, it is... it's a great deal because you're going to have the opportunity to make more money. You have to play an extra game, and the playoffs are changed now, which we both totally oppose. I'm disappointed. I thought this was the perfect opportunity for the players to vote no, and just given everything, how they just postponed the draft, or at least it's not going to be in Vegas. I'll have to double check on that, whether it's postponed or whether it's just not in Vegas. But it would have been a chance to vote no and then really put the pressure on to... Yeah, NFL draft is postponed and will not be held in Vegas. So something that was going to be basically over a month away has already been canned. So I think it's terrible deal for the players, but I guess now that's what's happening now. Nothing you can do about it. 17-game NFL schedule. Woohoo!
I mean, here's what I'll say. So, in terms of what I think of the deal, I've said this before. 17 games is kind of useless to me. I like some aspects of it, like the 2 extra playoff teams. I don't mind so much, or whatever it is. Yeah, 2 extra from each side, I think it is. And here's what I'll say, just to tie in this little virus here really quick. I think this virus helped the owners in this deal because the players, if you go and say no to this deal, then the NFL comes back and say, well, we don't have the money now because this coronavirus is sweeping through our funds here, and we're trying to do this, that, and the other thing. And now we're going to decrease all this in this deal, and now you're going to have to accept it.
True.
If you want to lock out.
True. Might as well take this deal now while you can get it.
Yeah, I think that kind of pushed the hand a little bit, and I don't think it's not the worst deal I've ever seen. 17 game is kind of dumb. I don't understand that. But for the players, those younger players are going to get a little bump in pay who kind of need it, right? You know, the Odell Beckhams and the Tom Brady, they're going to get their money. But those younger guys coming in, they get a little increase. And also avoid the lockout. And like I said, I think the coronavirus kind of pushed the hand a little bit. Maybe. That's just my theory. In that it kind of affected the deal in a way where if you come back and say no to this deal as a player, they're going to be like, well, we're going to lower your salaries then, or this and that, and the other thing. Just because of this virus, it's affecting things in multiple ways, the economy, and now you're going to get a real short end of the deal. So I think it affected it in some way, and I don't know. I think it's fine. I mean, we'll see what happens. But overall, yeah. I mean, we talked about it before. I think we both understood it's probably going to get accepted at some point here, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Now we'll see what happens when they actually get back to it. But doesn't this mean now that the Patriots should go to Tom Brady with an offer theoretically? Because before they said we can't offer you anything because we don't know what the CBA is going to say. Well.
Yeah, every team now has $10 million extra dollars to play with, and for the Patriots situation, that is huge. We talked extensively on the show about a month ago. We did a whole breakdown. If you want to go back and find that, we did a whole breakdown of the salary cap situation for certain teams and for the Patriots and why they were kind of at a crossroads. With the team, and now you have some cap flexibility to actually offer Tom Brady a legitimate deal and not basically have to have it absorb all of your salary cap. Let me try and see. I don't know if they've adjusted these yet on some of these websites. It doesn't look like they have, because as of right now, I think they did, actually, because right now it says $43 million in cap space for the Patriots. That's still assuming a $13 million dead hit money for Tom. So yeah. We played around before with all the figures. If he stays, if he goes, if you re-sign him, blah, 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 all of that down the road. So they definitely have the room now to give him a deal, and they can spread out the money. They can finagle it, just the way they did this, where he got paid $30 million last year, and they were able to spread the money over 3 years. Dead years, void years. They can figure out all that sort of stuff. And now they actually even have, because we know exactly how many picks the Patriots are going to have, especially with all the compensatory picks, we've got a figure on their projected draft picks, and those are it's lower, the projected salaries for these guys than was expected, so at least based off these projections. So that's a little extra room, because those are the things you had to account for. Was okay, your own free agents and your draft picks, and then Tom. What's your order of operations there? I think now they have the ability to go Tom first, and as long as they have other things lined up. What's crazy is that NFL free agency is just chugging along, Christian. They're not saying they're not going to stop, and so I guess guys are going to be flying around. I mean, a guy's going to not travel to see teams. They're just going to all have to teleconference. The league year is going to start up, and by Tuesday, we could be hearing about Stephon Diggs, the New England Patriots trade, and Tom Brady re-signing. Or Tom Brady could be signed instantly on the dotted line with the Tennessee Titans. I don't know. Do you think it's weird that they're still moving forward?
Well, we have a couple comments from the live feed here. Colin is saying that, we heard this too, the Titans will no longer pursue Tom and go after Tannehill, which I think is utterly ridiculous, but just from the standpoint of why would you? I just don't understand. I don't understand these teams that are saying no, but I think it's honestly just a play from each side, not to get too much focused on Brady, but he's kind of what we're waiting for here. Now that CBA is done, and really to me, I think it's Tampa if they really want him, Tennessee, or San Fran, maybe make a run at it.
Colin said San Diego. I don't think there's a team in San Diego anymore.
yeah. LA Charge.
San Diego Supercharge. I missed that song.
That was a good jam. But I think now all of these teams have more flexibility with the cap. So the teams that had $800 million in room, which is what it felt like. Now they even more to go get a guy like Brady and then bring in another one.
The Niners could still sign Tom Brady outright and actually just keep Jimmy Garoppolo and let him play behind Brady for 2 more years.
That's true. I know. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy G's kind of interesting because I don't think Kyle Shanahan has this thing for freaking Kirk Cousins that is just mind blowing to me. Where he really wants Kirk Cousins for whatever reason.
There would be no difference. There's no difference between Kirk Cousins and Jimmy Garoppolo, honestly.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. I agree. I don't understand the infatuation that Shanahan has. And it'll probably just blow another lead in the Super Bowl anyway if Kirk Cousins were to get there, which I don't know about that one. But I don't know. I think this is kind of the next shoe to drop here for the NFL is where Brady goes.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the way LeBron held free agency, hostage in the NBA in both 2010 and in
myself challenge to selfie
2018. To answer Aaron, she asked, if Tom went to San Fran, who would be the starting quarterback? Well, they would trade Jimmy Garoppolo immediately, or they would try to trade Garoppolo immediately, and if not, they would just cut him. Because either way, if they trade him or cut him, they owe him $4 million against their cap, and so they could try and trade him. I guess if some team really wanted to ensure they got him, they could trade for him, but then they're going to have to pay him the contract he's under. So teams may just be like, yeah, I'll give you a 7th-round pick. More likely, it would be like a player-for-player trade. We've speculated that if Tom went to San Fran, that maybe you just trade them Edelman for Garoppolo straight up, and that way you give Tom a buddy. The 2 California boys can play out their careers in San Fran, and you bring Garoppolo back here, and then you just build the team around Garoppolo and whatever young talent. But I don't think. I think that's the scenario that is like the dream storyline scenario for everybody involved, writers and broadcasters as well. I still think now, especially with the money, odds are Tom comes back to New England. But we'll find out. NFL free agency is going to soldier on. I think because their games and everything is so far away from happening, they can kind of afford to conduct business because their business right now doesn't include much, no large gatherings of people. So they can continue on. Want to hit on some more stuff just from the way this week has played out. We went over the timeline of events. Most of you all probably watched it happen in real time, with one league after another canceling. It was a sight on Thursday with we had both gotten credentialed. The show was going to be down in New York City. There was the Big East tournament in Madison Square Garden and the A10 tournament in Brooklyn. Right in our backyards, we could go to both. And we made the call Wednesday morning. I made the call just off of things. The military had gone in and basically locked down New Rochelle. And I'm like, what if we go down and they decide to quarantine New York City and we're stuck there? What if we go down, everything's fine, we come home, but then they say, hey, somebody who was at the A10 has coronavirus, so now you all have to isolate yourselves. It just wasn't worth that risk. So we decided to stay here. We're gonna, we can still watch the games and give our take on them. Well, everything shuts down. Most leagues, most conferences were quick in the NCAA to just say, you know what, cancel. As soon as you see professional leagues starting to cancel, there's no reason for amateurs to be out there risking their own health and the health of others. Absolutely mind-blowing that the Big East tipped off their game on was it Thursday or Friday morning? I think I can't remember which day it was now. It's all just blurring together. But they tipped off their first game that day. Everybody else is canceling. Yeah. Everybody else is saying, let's cancel this, and you have the gall to still tip off a game. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, stupid. I saw that. I saw all these conferences canceling, and I'm just like, what am I watching right now? How am I watching a game if everything's canceled? It's like, oh, the Big East is still going. And then at halftime they cancel it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was
which is good because wasn't Creighton losing? I wonder if they still have a half a box score up for that game, or does it just say canceled now? Oh, yeah, it says canceled. I think they were losing to St. John's. So Creighton probably went to the locker room at halftime and was like, we're going to lose this game. This game can't be final. Please cancel the game.
If I was a player in that game, though, I'd go back to the locker room and be like, what the hell are we doing? Everything else is canceled. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Because that's just putting, like you mentioned, the players, the refs, the broadcast, everybody's at risk there. If anybody in that building, God forbid. I know there weren't many fans there, but still, it's like everybody's canceling. You gotta jump ahead of it, and then you still play the game for half of it.
And that's how it snowballed. Was once you say, all right, fans can't be there. We don't want fans. It's not safe for fans because we don't want communities. Well, how's that any better? What if that's why I think, is Rudy Gobert a monster or is he a martyr? Him getting sick kind of really woke everybody up like, oh my God, a player has this now. And then once it's on that side, it's going to be difficult to control because these guys have so much contact with each other. Same thing with any sports. Go right down the line to little peewee hockey right now, which has been canceled. You just can't risk one of these. All it takes is one person, once Gobert was positive, it quickly spread. And once you had teams, from the NCAA, once you have teams canceling their seasons and just deciding on their own to end things, allegedly both Duke and Kentucky just said they were canceling their whole spring season, so they were out. So even if you decided you wanted to have a March Madness tournament down the road, those teams were canceled. They weren't going to be part of it. And then once you have the big boys pulling out, then everybody else is just going to follow suit. And so what are you doing? And that's why the NCAA canceled their championships, which then again just essentially it trickles down, and the pressure comes down to cancel. Just everybody cancel their seasons because it's a bad look. It's a bad look to have some teams playing while other teams aren't. So it's better just for everybody, and probably legally. People get advised, hey, you know what, SEC, you guys should our lawyers are telling us, yeah, we want to soldier on and keep playing this tournament, but if one kid gets sick, there could be legal ramifications of this down the line. You know what? Let's just, for insurance reasons and everything, all that other stuff, I know there's money here. Public health is one part of it, but I think I'm willing to bet with all these big schools to just walk away, there was probably a legal consideration as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised it took the NCAA that long.
Oh, it's because of the money.
Surprised and I'm not.
It's because of the money. Should this have all been done 2 weeks ago? Yeah, but I'm not surprised.
It's the NCAA at the end of the day, so I guess I can't be that surprised. They kind of, I don't know, they kind of make a mockery of themselves, and I don't want to rip them too hard because they were pretty close to after everybody else, but it took them way too long, especially after like all the top dogs, Duke and Kent, like all those guys are backing out. There's no way you're going to be able to play the tournament, so just get ahead of it already. Everything else is canceled. PGA Tour is canceling. Tennis, like it's just everything around the world. So there's no point in
yeah, as an institution,
play the tournament.
As an institution, the NCAA should have been ahead of it. Instead, they were forced to react because all these other institutions took it upon themselves to do the right thing, which is good. It's good that those institutions on their own made the decisions, but bad that the NCAA, like unless that happened, probably would have just tried to soldier on, which is again not all that surprising, but still disappointing.
I think by far Adam Silver has handled this thing the best, and it's not even close. Even better than the leader of the country, in my opinion. Adam Silver was like, okay, one person has it, we're done. Shut it down. And from there it was the trickle to the NHL and all these big leagues. And then after that, it just goes right down to NCAA, amateur, high school teams. It goes right down from the top. So good for Adam Silver to start the whole chain there, because you don't want a situation where you have 8 teams that are all sick of this thing, and then you're in a real bad spot. Instead, get ahead of it. Everybody go home. We'll pick it back up in a month, hopefully, when this thing has died down a bit. But I think the NBA has handled it the best. The NCAA, not so much. Not surprising in the least, based on what the NCAA's past and everything looks like. But I just think, man, you got to get ahead of this thing, and I think we were already too late. But now you gotta continue it here. So we'll be without a lot of sports for an extended period of time.
Adam Silver for president, is that what I'm hearing from you, Christian?
Yeah. Yep. Today. Yep. On this thing, absolutely.
One thing, probably the biggest fallout, from in the sports world from this, is all of the senior athletes whose senior seasons are cut short and come to an abrupt end. I was glad I was worried we were going to come to this show today and not have a decision from the NCAA regarding eligibility, because I feel like that was something that they were going to have to rule on and discuss very quickly, because some of these kids may look at it and say, hey, my playing career is done, and they just are going to start looking, they have to start looking towards the next part of life, which is to search for jobs and all that sort of stuff. They came back pretty quickly on Friday and, said that for spring sports, across Division 1, 2, and 3, spring sport, seniors are going to get a year of eligibility. They haven't really said yet, the language they used. Let me see if I can pull it up. It made it sound like it was just seniors, which I think is interesting, because if you're a freshman, you could also claim that you lost a whole year. Like, your career is going to be cut short. Let's see. This is from D3, the D3 Administrative Committee. Today, the Division III Administrative Committee provided flexibility for schools to assist students with travel, lodging, and meals as a result of campus displacements. The committee waived all requirements for sports sponsorship for the spring season. It also granted an additional season/semester of eligibility for student athletes. Okay, so all these athletes now, if they want, can get that. Technically, I guess a fifth year, but this year basically doesn't count. So I think that's great for all the senior, spring athletes who thought that they weren't going to get a senior season. The people who they haven't addressed really yet, that it really undercuts, is people in winter sports who were still going. Guys in hockey tournaments right now, who are part of teams that had phenomenal seasons that were headed towards Frozen Fours or national championships. Look at just locally, teams like URI and PC, who we were hoping could maybe make a run in their conference tournaments or even make a run in the national tournament. Even if you grant those seniors the chance to come back, there's no saying you recapture what you had this year. Look at a team like Dayton, who basically came out of nowhere at the beginning of the year to potentially could have been a national champion. If that whole team comes back next year in men's basketball, are they even still the same team because of this? You'll never. I'm glad there's going to be some exceptions made, and I'm sure some of the winter sport seniors who haven't got to finish their careers are going to get to come back. That's going to be a whole battle after the fact. At least for the spring sports, I'm glad these teams will get to come back as constituted. What that does for recruiting classes and scholarships is a whole. It's a big mess, but we have time to sort it out. But unfortunate that as far as we go as people who cover sports and the teams and the coaches and the athletes, even if you get to bring all these guys back, you won't be able to recapture this season. And I think that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is what it is, unfortunately. I mean, there's not much. There'll be something done, and we'll kind of see what it is here. But there's plenty of time now, and kind of everything's over. So now this is the stuff that you have to figure out where you go from here. But it is kind of a mess. So we will kind of have to keep tabs on it and see what happens with everything. But it's definitely unfortunate, and just one of those things that you can't control. So it feels even worse because it's kind of one of those things that happens and you can't do anything about it. You just have to live with it and see what happens.
Yeah. And then the other group of people who there's really nothing they can do is any high school senior athletes. No guarantee. I mean, I played high school football, tried to play college football, didn't work out. But I had my chance. For any high school athletes who maybe aren't guaranteed a chance in college, if you're a senior right now on any team, and both your winter season and your spring season are taken away from you, I feel for those kids as well, because there's plenty who are obviously good enough to play in high school that won't even get a chance in college, or weren't even looking to play in college. Maybe they're going somewhere, where I know plenty of kids who were high school great athletes that didn't care about sports in college. They could have gone and been a D3 athlete somewhere, but they decided to go to a big school because they wanted to be a doctor. And they weren't going to play. They weren't going to be a doctor and also play. They actually weren't good enough to play D1 basketball, or something like that. Really unfortunate for senior high school athletes. I think what is good, what we've seen, is the outpouring of support in the sports community and the coming together of everyone during obviously a completely hectic and crazy time. You're hearing so many things. I think we're going to get a whole deluge of feature stories on people because there's just not going to be anything to fill headlines. I was talking to a reporter yesterday. I was like, so what are you going to do? Now's the time to write all the feature stories about people. Now's the time to all those little projects in the back that you didn't have time for. Now's the time. We don't have games to talk about for a long time. So
for at least a couple months, probably.
Getting out as much as we can about these athletes as people is what you're going to see happen, and kind of seeing the togetherness of the sports community. I think that's been something to behold, so to speak. We do have a bit of breaking news. There's already been a trade confirmed in the NFL. The Jaguars are trading Calais Campbell to the Ravens for a 5th-round draft pick. This from many blue-checked Twitter accounts. So Calais Campbell to the Ravens. That's the first big move. It'll be interesting to see if we see more moves. Christian, any instant reaction to the 33-year-old Calais Campbell going to the Ravens for a 5th-round pick?
Initially, yeah, the Ravens got better. A 5th-round pick is kind of chump change. I don't know. How many 5th-round picks do you see come through that are like super high-tier caliber talent? There are some, but not many. And Calais Campbell is a serviceable NFL player, and I think he'll help them out on the defensive line. So, good move for them. Now the Jaguars have gotten rid of Calais Campbell and A.J. Bouye, which are, I don't know. Tom Coughlin came in and kind of got those two to put together for a run, like a bunch of those guys, and now they're getting rid of them all. So it's interesting from the Jaguars' perspective. They kind of went from a team that was like this really, really good defense and primed for almost going to the Super Bowl had New England not come back in that game a couple of years ago. But now they're trading guys off. The Ravens just got better. So that does not help the Patriots, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This is a guy that, a fifth-round pick is like, you do that every time. And I think any help you can get for the Ravens with their defense, who is really good towards the end of the year, and any way to get better, now they just improved. So we'll see what they can do in the playoffs. That's the big thing with them, but it's a good move for them. Also, one quick note, too. I just saw something about the NFL will no longer suspend players for positive marijuana tests.
Yeah, that was another bit of news. The NFL's in a, they don't have to worry about games right now, so they're just in like a media dump. They're like, let's sneak all this stuff through while there's a pandemic happening. Yeah, I think they had outlined something similar to like what the NHL has, where it's like, it's not illegal, but it's kind of like alcohol. If we think you have a problem, we're going to do something about it. But
i.e. Josh Gordon?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If he's just having like a joint a day, is that a problem? I don't know. I guess you could say it's a problem. But people have a drink a day. I think that's what it's trending towards, is if you're doing it and it's helping you, say with any sort of anxiety, or it's helping you with pain, that's fine. Which, like, you never know. Like, oh, Josh Gordon has tested positive for marijuana use. Is that like he's that guy from the Jets who's busted with like 200 pounds down on like the Mexican border, or is he just hanging out and smoking a joint? What's the level of criminality here? So I think that's the way they want to treat it. Is if you're positive for having using marijuana, no big deal. If we think that you're like dealing marijuana, or that you're literally like high all the time, just how you couldn't show up drunk to work, if you show up high to work, they'll probably let the teams honestly legislate it within their own buildings, how they want to discipline guys.
You hear about guys all the time that are playing game, at least after they retire, and even some that are still in the league, that, I was high every game. Because, I don't know, the NFL takes a toll on you, man. It's like, it's a violent sport. That's just, it is what it is. I don't think, honestly, I'm more mad about the fact that we're not going to see any more Stephen A. Smith stay off the weed memes. Those might go away, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. Stay off the weed! He'll come up with something.
Also, more breaking news 44 minutes ago from Diana Rossini of ESPN. The Titans are not interested in Tom Brady. They're working hard to get a deal done with Ryan Tannehill, per sources. So they seem to be, whether this is just a ploy in the media from either the Belichick side or the organization side, or maybe the Titans are just not interested in him.
Yeah, they were using Brady to leverage Tannehill the whole time. Yeah,
so, damn. I don't know, that's stronger language than Diana Rossini was using before. So, Tom Brady's teams are dwindling, and dwindling fast. Patriots, Tampa, maybe the Raiders. That seems like where we're at, and I think the most likely scenario seems like it's coming back to here, maybe.
I like this. I like this from Colin, and I'm sure Stephen A. will. We could effort a Stephen A. A mock-up of this, but instead of stay off the weed, it's stay off the crack.
There you go. New one going. You got to get something.
That is probably one of my. Stephen A. is a treasure because he's basically almost become a characterization of himself, but I don't care. I am wildly entertained whenever he flips out about something. And when he was talking about the NBA draft and Phil Jackson's failings as a GM and his whole thing about he signed Lamar Odom, who was on crack. Those things, it gets me every single time. I really can't. I can't help but laugh. So we need more Stephen A. at times like these. That is one of the things I think that's interesting is like what happens to the sports programming now. I'm sure all these cable stations are scrambling for content. You plan to have games and coverage. All these broadcasters are out of work now, including myself. No games to call. I was thinking about simming the rest of the NHL season on my PlayStation 4 and doing like commentary, like having the computer play itself and doing some commentary over it. I don't know if that's you tell us, listeners. Is that something that you'd enjoy, that you'd listen to? So. Should we sim out the NBA and NHL seasons on PlayStation? But what they're doing now on all these networks is they're just rerunning games, old games, classic games. They're scrambling for content because they're probably afraid people are just going to cut cable. Like, hey, there's no sports. Why the hell am I going to pay $100-something a month for this cable package when I really don't need it now? That's like there's so many like angles to this. What are newspapers going to write about? What are these talk shows going to talk about? After a week here, I mean, maybe that's why the NFL is like hanging on with free agencies, because they know they're literally going to be the only thing going. Because everything, even UFC, which was going to still soldier on, they were going to fight down in Brazil, I think, next week. The Nevada Gaming Commission was like, no, even you guys got to suspend everything. So there's literally nothing happening in the world of sports. And what are these shows going to talk about? I don't know. I mean, what are we going to talk about? At least we only talk once a week, and we're a podcast. We can kind of have fun and talk about like, hey, I learned a new recipe for stew today, and that's what I'm doing. I'm crock-potting to, we can just kind of make this a space to meet and talk about how we're all handling our isolation. Can't really have that much fun on regularly scheduled sports talk show programming. Like, these guys aren't going to be doing shows in their pajamas like we are.
No, they'll pound the crap out of stories though, and also reruns are awesome. Like I saw a couple people the other day were like, Patriots are down 28-3, not good.
Yeah, but you can watch it on YouTube.
Then,
you don't need to subscribe to NFL Network for that.
That's true. Yeah, but I think good. I saw a couple clips of Michael Jordan from his Wizards days going off for like 40 points or something like that. Just kind of the classics I think you have to go back to, and honestly, YouTube is a great source for boredom these days if you need some sports. Also, there's at least some sports that are doing NFL stuff, Brady stuff, which you can pound that crap out of that as well. Like that, you can drag that out for hours. But I think right now anyway, it's going to be a lot of NFL stuff coming down the pike here in the next week or two. So we'll have some NFL stuff to hit anyway. Yeah. At least from my angle, we can make up some stories.
Some fake news.
Fake news.
Just to sum up so the NFL and the players agreed on the new collective bargaining agreement. As far as the big things that are going to be a part of that, expanding the regular season to 17 games, expanded the playoffs to 14 teams, increased 48-man game day roster. So it used to be 45, I believe. So now you can have 3 extra players on your game day active roster. I still don't understand why that's a thing. Why does that have to be a thing? Why can't all your players just be active? Like, it's not like college where, some teams have 60 guys and other teams like Alabama have 180, and it'd be unfair to let them dress everybody. Why in the NFL, when you have set rosters, why can't everybody play? I don't know. I guess there's a reason behind it, but it does mandate, though, that you must have 8 offensive linemen. Increased minimum player salary. Increased benefits for active and former players. It says increased PS size and eligibility. I guess that means that's just player salary again. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but yeah. So those are the big changes coming to the NFL whenever NFL games are played again.
Here you go, real quick from Mike Jones of the USA Today. now is saying that the next 24 hours are going to be very interesting, especially on the Brady front. The Titans see him as plan A and Tannehill as plan B, I'm told, but Patriots are making a push to keep Brady. So this is going to happen now the next 2 weeks.
It's
all the time.
The next two, it's been the same thing that's been happening for a month. You're going to hear one thing, and then you're going to hear the complete opposite from somebody else.
Yeah, it's just somebody's lying. Who's lying? Figure it out.
Yeah.
Mike Jones.
Yeah, we're really grateful for you guys for hanging with us here and listening to the show live. We don't always do the live programming, but me and Christian, forced to be in remote locations, figured out a way through the magic of the interwebs. We are connected to each other, and glad you guys could all hop on and join. If you have any questions, you can email the show, the360sportshow@gmail.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can send us stuff directly through there. This episode will be up later today. We'll put it out as a podcast, like always, through SoundCloud, and then you can find it through all of your podcast apps. So make sure you go there and subscribe. And we've had a bunch of people commenting on the side here through the live stream. If you guys have any suggestions for us, send those. Still can't say that. Send those our way. Why is that so difficult for me to say?
Send those our way.
Send those our way. I don't know what I'm trying to say that isn't that, but I guess I have a lot of time here to sit with myself and figure out why I can't speak English goodly well.
You've been sitting inside too long. You got to get out there,
That is the plan. And I guess I kind of want to end the show, because we can talk forever about Tom Brady. We can talk forever about the coronavirus affecting sports, and there's going to be more things happening. As of right now, the Olympics are still on. Don't know. I mean, it's day to day with this thing, and even kind of hour to hour with what's still happening, what could be canceled. For all we know, by tomorrow, we could all be told, don't leave your homes. So it's a really an evolving story, and we're going to try and bring you as much that's sports related as often as we can. That's why if you follow us on social media, we're doing more kind of live, up to the hour-minute stuff as news breaks. We're commenting there, and then bring you the podcast each and every week. But I want to kind of end the show with, I guess, in the short term, what we're each doing, Christian, and then hear from the listeners who are live right now, what their plans are and what they're doing right now. I know for me, I've got plenty of food in my apartment, and the plan is to just kind of, obviously with athletics canceled, I don't have anything to do. I have no games to cover. It is very bizarre to be in the middle of March and work's just over. There's literally nothing for me. A play-by-play broadcaster can't do much. That's why we're talking about simming games and creating something that way. But the plan for the short term is just hang out here for a week, socially distance myself from others physically. I think I've seen a whole bunch of memes, because that's what we've been doing, sharing around, and it was it shows an old person talking about, hey Grandpa, tell us about what you did in 2018 or 2020 during the coronavirus. Well, it was all I was sitting by myself, and me and all my friends were sharing memes. That's literally I think what this is going to come to. But just hang out. We're trying to figure out Skype plans to play board games somehow with friends. We're lucky to have the internet and all the ways we can still stay connected and stay in touch. And for the time being, we're just gonna cook our own food and try and just be together, be alone together, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah. And look, if someone tells me, all right, for the next week or two, maybe longer, you have to stay at home, eat whatever you can find, play video games, do whatever you want, I'm all for it, right? Social distancing for me is pretty easy because I like to do that anyway. Just because of the type of person that I am, I like to take my weekends and kind of just relax. Sit down, not do much, take it easy. Other than that, obviously work. Maybe working remote. We'll see what happens with good old RI here and how we handle things. But this is going to be an easy time for me. Let me tell you, Netflix, video games, I got a little putting green set up in my office here. I'm good. I'm good to go for the next couple of weeks here. If I'm told to stay inside, I will do so. We got a nice little field here. We can go for a walk. But inside, I'm good with it.
Yeah, and I guess maybe that's some stuff we can work on is some good staying home content. I like the idea of doing some play-by-play for sim games. I like the idea the putting green inside. Maybe I do have whoa.
Cut out.
Whoa. I guess I should have put my phone on silent. Somebody's trying to
wind sprints, son.
So here
running down the hallway away from the mic.
Here's the way we have this set up right now is I've got a headset going into a mixer. I've got Christian piped in through my phone going into the mixer. That's all going into a camera that is then going into the laptop, which is then being produced out to you. And obviously I have time here to keep finagling with it, and so as I'll have time to produce a full show for next week, and maybe we'll have some more graphics and things like that. But yeah, so I guess I should have told people not to call me during the show, or I should at least turn off the ringtone. Oh my gosh, sorry for anybody whose ears just got blown out. Colin says, I'm still working, but I have quite a few shows to work on and start up that I can finally take care of if I have to stop working. Yeah, I think that's mostly where everybody's at. So there's all this pressure. Have you seen all the pressure on Disney and Netflix and HBO to release their shows? Release all of Westworld now and let us binge it. If the world's not here in 7 weeks, I need to know how Westworld ends. There's this push for movie theaters to release their movies pay-per-view. I'm trying to think of a big movie. Could you imagine right now, as a nerd, if say this was happening last year and Avengers Endgame was coming out, but there was you couldn't go to a theater for risk of spreading a virus. I would be pulling my hair out. Luckily there's nothing like that it's I need to know what happens. But there's been some pressure building for hey, just put these things online and let us pay to see them. What's the difference? You're going to make your money anyways. And I know movie theaters themselves will lose money on concessions. But maybe you do it. Maybe you set it up so you can purchase it through a specific theater based off of geographic location. I don't know. These are all the crazy things that are going to be figured out, because anything that's this big, there's all these little side economic trickle down things. I don't know. In the age of the internet, would you pay per view to watch a movie from a movie theater at home, Christian? If that became a thing, would it stick around, or would you actually never leave your home ever again?
Yeah, probably. Honestly, that sounds kind of good to me. Because half the time, right, the concessions at the movies are so overpriced that I just go to the dollar store anyway.
Yeah, that dollar store candy.
You hit up the dollar store candy, and you can sit at home and watch a movie. I'm all for it. It might be cheaper too. It's $45 to go to a movie nowadays. I think they did. You know what I think? I think they did pre-released, or they released the latest Star Wars early on digital and DVD. I think.
Who wants to rewatch that garbage anyways, though?
Oh, I didn't think it was that bad, but all I'm saying is I think there's a possibility that other things could come out early. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how much people annoy the producers of these movies and shows. Maybe they'll release stuff. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I was gonna say before my ears got torn apart by a ringtone. I like the idea. I have my golf clubs. I, like you, have a field nearby. Maybe we can set up some sort of little golf tourney here. Maybe a little pitch and putt competition, and we could tape it together, and I could get into my gym dance mode. Hello, friends. A tradition truly unlike any other.
You know what I saw actually today? I'm not sure where it was. There was apartments all around, and then this guy standing in the pool area in the middle of it. Everybody opened their windows, and he was he had a mic set up, and he was doing a workout routine for everybody, but they were in their rooms. He was just next to the pool. and they're all along. The camera's pane is all along these open apartments from like story 1 to story like 16 or whatever it was. And they're all doing this workout. It's kind of cool. Maybe that's the way we're going.
Well, that we saw. I saw last night. I'm sure most people saw all the videos from like Spain and Italy, like places that are now on lockdown. But like they had that like moment where like they wanted to applaud the work of like health workers. So like everybody basically like came out on their balconies and stuff and started like clapping and cheering. Like
Yeah.
eerie stuff, but like cool moments. And there's gonna be a lot of stuff like that. I can't take credit for this, but I need to read this. I saw it on Twitter. So it says Jim Nantz voice. As a familiar breeze takes a new course past our ghostly invisible patrons and the azaleas undisturbed by human life, we welcome you to springtime at Augusta and to a tradition perhaps like some other, the Postponed Masters on CBS. So, something happened. I think we lost Christian. Hold on. Let's get him back up on the line. Christian says, I can't hear you. I don't know how that happened. Oh, we can hear this in real time. Dialing Christian back in.
There we go. Hello.
Hello, Christian. You're live on the show. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question. What happens if this coronavirus eats everybody alive and the world ends?
I have an answer for you, but I'm not going to give it because if that happens, there's really not much to worry about. So
That's true.
Yeah, I would say.
All right.
Yeah, I
would take my question. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You're welcome. Great phone line you got there.
Yeah, landline.
Yeah. That's what happens. Did you totally lose out? Did you not hear my my Jim Nantz impression there?
I heard I might have to do my Jim Nantz, and then everything went radio silent.
Huh. Who knows? Government took over our phone. I don't like that 360 sports show spreading propaganda.
I heard my spiel on Adam Silver for president. I'm happy about it.
Let me go. Aaron says Netflix and chill has a whole new meaning. Yeah, this is the time. Like we said, catch up on shows, movies. A lot of I think especially if we have to like go to a lockdown, like a lot of relationships are going to get tested. Honestly, though,
true, yeah.
this is what happens when Tom Brady isn't signed with the Patriots. I think once Tom Brady signs back with the Patriots, like magically the world's just going to start. Going back to normal mysteriously, much like Dean Koontz in his 1981 novel predicted. Did you see that, by the way? The whole Dean Koontz thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so Dean Koontz is an author. He wrote this book, The Eyes of Darkness, in 1981, and literally in this book, he discusses like a virus that spreads from China, that a lab in China was trying to work on an RNA virus to combat other diseases, and they end up creating like this unknown pathogen that gets out from the lab, spreads to mainland China, and then goes around and infects the rest of the world, and then just magically vanishes, and then like it comes back 10 years later, and then magically just it just goes away again. The name for this disease, they gave it because of the region it came out of. Again, this book is from 1981, and the disease was called the Wuhan virus. No lie.
Oh yes, okay, yeah, I did see this.
No lie. Now, can you say coincidence? Probably because the whole, if you want to just, if you wanted to project out back then, hey, how could a disease spread? Hey, well, there's these wet markets in China, which is how it's really easy to spread disease. So we're going to pick one, and okay, Wuhan is where it comes from, and then it eventually happens anyways. Really easy to go from there, but still just eerily creepy to have happen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
all for a good conspiracy.
Yeah. So a lot of relationships are going to be tested through this. So that's Christian. You're gonna really know a lot about. I mean, you plan to be married in September, but I think really the marriage starts now. Correct?
Oh, it started like 2 years ago. It's not a problem. Yeah, it's not a problem. It was like really, it was like 3 years ago. It was like, we're just an old, the old couple. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. So honestly, you've been practicing social distancing for a while.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It honestly was a hobby of mine before now, and now everybody ruined it for me because now everybody has to do it. But
you're a social distancing hipster.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Not so much of the hipster part.
You were doing it before it was cool.
Exactly. Yeah. I was social distancing. Now it's become a thing.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up the show. Again, you can email the show, the360sportshow@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram and Twitter @360sportsshow. Throughout the week, send us stuff. Interact with us. We're going to be trying to put out some content, some humorous stuff. Obviously, there's not a lot of games to talk about. Still some NFL news, happening. So we'll be able to bring you updates on that as things go on throughout the week. The Tom Brady sweepstakes, so to speak. We'll have updates on that, and then we'll do another live show next weekend. This is, for the time being, how we're going to have to do things with me and Christian separated for the time being. So thank you for all those that joined in and listened with us here on this episode. I do want to give one email. We did have an email come through, and this is from Peter, and the subject is suggestions for Patriots organization and fans. Keep Tom and carry on. So that is going to be the message that we leave you with today. Keep Tom and carry on. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, be smart, listen to the healthcare professionals around you. This is not a hoax. This is not a test of the emergency broadcast system.
Not a test.
So we're gonna leave you guys with that. Thanks for everybody who joined us here live. We'll be live again next week, and we'll be putting this podcast out very shortly for you all who couldn't listen live. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. Christian, hope you stay well. We'll be in touch here virtually, and I guess everybody try and enjoy their week and stay safe.
Stay safe out there, people.
All right, take care, folks.